It has been a while since I last dove, and I'm back with another dive. This one, the first lobster dive of the season in San Diego, La Jolla, California. The surf that day was about a foot. The surge was pretty rough, and what surge is, for those of you that are not familiar, is pretty much the choppiness of the water and the movement underneath. And it was pretty rough that day. I drank plenty of salt water. And yeah, my first lobster dive of the season. I went further south. I'm sure most of you have heard of this by now, but the oil spill that happened early October from that pipeline right across the beach from Huntington Beach area in Orange County. Crude oil, I think it's now almost 200,000 gallons of it, or barrels, were spilled on estimate. And yeah, so that whole area in like Crystal Cove, Laguna, and Laguna is illegal to spearfish, but that general area is pretty much off limits for a while, in my opinion. And even San Diego, where I dove, to be honest, I probably won't be going down there as much or for a while, because the way the currents are set up in Southern California right now, I am not an expert, but from my understanding, the current flows south. So anywhere from the oil spill down is pretty much going to pull that oil all the way down. I know they contain some of it, but realistically, it's probably not going to be contained for quite some time. So with that bad news aside, I did end up with 3 lobsters for the day. Super excited and was stoked that I can catch them. Remember to measure from between the eyeballs to the end of the body of the shell. I don't know the exact name. You'll see here that I used a gauge on my flashlight to measure the lobster sizes. And in this video, we do a little lobster grill and ended up using some of the body to make a broth, and then put in some instant noodles to make some lobster ramen, which was super exciting and it was delicious. So stick around to the end of the video for that. But if you have any questions on either lobster diving in general, or you want to talk the current conditions of the crude oil affecting Southern California, especially for us divers, feel free to leave a comment. I'd be happy to chat there. But I hope you enjoyed this video. It was super awesome to catch those lobster and eat them. So enjoy. Thanks for watching. So let's get started on eating these guys. Got our 3 lobster here. Let's get started. So we're gonna dispatch the lobster right between the mouth, right there.
Okay, Trey, I got this.
Go. We have the meat there, and now we need to take out the guts. Okay, got it. Pull it out from the front. So now that we have the lobsters in halves, what we're gonna do now is season them with some Creole seasoning and butter them up on the grill. But before we do, I just wanna mention again, the heads of the lobsters, what we're gonna do is make a broth with them to incorporate into our instant noodles to get that lobster flavor into that broth. So keep that in mind. We're gonna do that right after the grill. Try this. We're gonna use this and some butter like we did in the last episode. Tony's Creole seasoning. Sprinkle that on generously. And then what we're gonna do is get butter and then layer it on the grill. Just gonna melt this butter down, and then when it's on the grill, the lobster tails are on the grill. Give it a nice glaze with some of this butter, and you should have a really tasty lobster tail. Now what we're gonna do is put the lobster tail on the grill, shell side down, this guy on high heat. Ooh, that smells great. Just grab our butter, be generous, pour it on top of each lobster. All right, just finished grilling. We're gonna take them off now. What we did was use some Tony's Creole seasoning. We split up the lobster tails in halves, and then we buttered them up during the grill process. I believe they're ready to go. Check that out. Beauties. So what we decided to do with the bodies is actually make, if you guys are familiar with Shin Ramen, we don't have enough ingredients to make a stock on our own or a bisque. So what we're gonna do is actually create a broth with the lobster head, strain it out, and then incorporate Shin Ramen and hopefully taste delicious. Really excited. So what we did is boil down the heads, and now we just added some onions and a little bit of garlic. And we're gonna take out the bodies, so we're left with a broth that we can start our ramen with. So we're just taking out the heads, straining it, and putting it to the side. Now let's add the seasoning for the Shin ramen. I'm gonna add that into the bowl, and then we're gonna add the beautiful noodles. And then last piece is cutting up some lobster to incorporate into the soup. So here we go. So here we go, we got some grilled lobster. We just grabbed the half and we're gonna cut them into the ramen. See little chunks in there. So we have a little bit of flavor coming through from the grill into the ramen. It's gonna be so good. And that's that. So here it is. This is the final product. This is a lobster instant noodles, elevated ramen. And what we're gonna do is give it a try. All right, so we just wrapped up. We are gonna try our lobster ramen. The lobster tail was delicious. We had a couple samples, but here, you can see by the camera, this is lobster ramen. We just used some instant noodles and then used the lobster body as the broth. So we made a kind of a stock out of that with some garlic and scallion. And then we threw in the noodles, and then we cut up some lobster tail, added this in there. So let's try it out. It smells delicious. So what we're gonna try out first is some of the lobster tail meat. Super good, very tender. A little bit of the butter from the grill. Now let's try some of the noodles. Still a little hot. Oh wow, okay. So you get a hint of the lobster at the end. Oh, this is really good. I don't know if anyone likes to eat their ramen with rice, but at the end, this is the perfect type to, you eat all the noodles, put some rice in there, mix it up. You got yourself kind of like a porridge situation. But this tastes amazing. If you haven't tried this out, another way to use the head, instead of throwing it away, you can make a little, a stock out of it essentially, and then mix it in with your instant noodles, some rice, whatnot. But another great way to enjoy some lobster. So first dive of the season, was lucky with 3 of them this time in La Jolla, and super excited. But I'm gonna enjoy this ramen.